Hey guys, I was asked recently about how I made rubber stamps, such as this Bigfoot riding Nessie. Okay, this is a really fun one that I made the other day. Now, it's actually fairly simple, just a few basic things to it. First, of course, is picking out the rubber that you're going to use. I personally use a rubber that I found at Lowe's. It is rubber packing material, and it works really well, and it's super cheap. Now, when you get the rubber, before you start doing anything, is you always want to do a test grid. So right here in Lightburn, we go down to material testing, and then I designed one and have it preset for rubber. And go to preview and see how I have it set up right here. Let me go here and blow it up so you can see. There you go. So this is what I set mine. I have a 10-watt laser, and this is what I used for my test grid. And it turns out what works best for me, if I can find there we go. Okay. What worked best for me was honestly something that was in between on that test grid. I used a 2500 speed with 100% power. Okay. And then for cutting my rubber, I use 370 at 100% power, but I do it at 8 passes right here. And again, it depends on the material. It also depends on how strong your laser is. But that's what works best for my 10-watt laser. Now, one of the biggest things that I have found to be useful is when cutting out the stamp. I used to do a box. Let me undo that real quick. I used to do a square piece of rubber, and I found that when you're pushing it down, it would sometimes leave ink around on the paper, and it was kind of annoying and it looked bad. So I started actually cutting out a similar shape to the object that I was going to be stamping, and that seems to work a lot better. So one of the biggest things when it comes to creating the image is, of course, you need the backdrop to what the image is, what you're actually going to be engraving away. And of course, right here, the actual image, we're not engraving anything there. We're engraving everything around the image. Now, the next biggest thing, and you got to remember this, and this is one of those ask me how I know situations, you have to flip the image. So when I stamp it, I want it to look like this when I stamp it, okay? So in order to do that, we have to flip the image, and that will make it, when we stamp it, it comes out the way that I want it. So however you want the object to face, you have to flip the image. That way when you stamp it, it comes out that way. So it's actually fairly simple to do stamps. Now the next biggest thing when it comes to setting it up, you can buy the handles pre-done. You just have to have them measured and do the stamps according to. But I've been doing my own. So one of the biggest things is, let it focus, is you want to make sure whatever you are putting the stamp on is completely flat in every direction. Reason being is when you push down and stamp, it's covered in ink. And when you put pressure down, you want the ink and the stamp to be pushed down equally. That way, it's a smooth stamp. You don't want any high spots. You don't want too many low spots. We want it to be able to push down and it stamp beautifully each and every time. Now, one of the biggest things a lot of people think is you just put ink on it, you stamp it down, it works every time. There is a little bit of an art to stamping. So whenever you make a stamp, depending on how detailed it is, how intricate it is, just make sure you practice with it before you start stamping your final projects. Now, also, I have learned after making some of these, close details normally do not come out well when stamping. So I have found simpler shapes like this tend to stamp 100% better the majority of the time. So I would recommend starting off with less intricate designs and then work into more detail and see what works best for you. Again, it's based on material as well as the type of laser that you're using. I do use a 10-watt diode laser. So I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, put a comment down in the below and hit me up. Y'all have a good day.